Now, thousands of fans are expected to protest against the chairman Doug Ellis before Aston Villa's game against Southampton today. The club's in the bottom three, and supporters claim it's being run like a corner shop. Wasn't always the case. Once it was the Harrods of the footballing world.
Just over 20 years ago, Ron Saunders had created an Aston Villa side which had no real stars, but was outstanding as a team. In the summer of 1980, he felt he'd got the final piece of his jigsaw when he brought in Peter With to partner the side's pretty boy, Gary Shaw, up front. With the likes of Dennis Mortimer in midfield, Gordon Cowans and Tony Morley down the wing, Villa were ready to challenge for honours.
At the beginning of the season, Saunders got us all in on the pitch one day and he said, I think we've got a squad here capable of big things.
Saunders was your classic old-style manager. The stick was better than the carrot.
We always felt he was picking on us, if you like, because we were the younger lads in the team, and at that time, I mean, we did have a bit of a social as well, and so he was always coming in and putting his arm around you and having a chat with you in the morning. Well, what he was doing really was trying to smell your breath, see if you'd been out the night before, and he'd always be having a go at us younger lads.
You know, I can remember sort of me scoring a hat-trick, I think, when I was only about 17, 18, down at Bristol City, and, you know, his only point to the press was, well, he was lucky to stay on the pitch for the second half because I was thinking of bringing him off at half-time.
He never said anything good about me, Gary, or said, even after the game, right, won 3 or 4-0, he wouldn't say, he'd go down to the rest of the lads and give them a cigar, and obviously, the lads, he'd look at us, he'd walk past us.
Ron's words to you every time you went out was just do what you do best, just do that. You know, he wasn't one for sort of having the team talks, the long team talks. He was very much an individual person. You know, he wanted you to get yourself going.
Me and Ron had a problem. I thought I was a good player and he thought I was useless. So, but I couldn't have been that bad because I played for him 3 times.
It's Morley.
They started the season well, and in the autumn went on a 12-match unbeaten run. But their nearest rivals were Bobby Robson's Ipswich.
They were a team full of internationals. I don't think we had one.
Villa were in top gear most of the season, and by the last day they needed a point at Highbury to clinch the title. But if they lost to Ipswich 1 at Middlesbrough, Robson's boys could pip them to the championship.
Maybe we made the mistake of going down to Arsenal on the day, actually. I think we got a bit delayed, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
I think it might have been better. I don't think we realised how many Villa fans were going to make the trip, to be honest. And, you know, and I think we might have been better going down the night before and maybe, you know, enjoying a night out. Because it might have relaxed us a little bit more, you know what I mean?
I think Pelly was at the game that day. I think he didn't know what round in fact he was. So we don't know if there was like 58,000 to watch that game or 58,000 to watch Pelly, see Pelly. We don't know, but I mean, it was a tremendous atmosphere.
I don't think I've ever seen a most disheartened dressing room, you know, in my life when we went there at half-time and we were 2-0 down and Ipswich were beating Middlesbrough. So you could feel it just slipping away.
Saunders' men lost, but Middlesbrough scored twice and beat Ipswich. So Villa were champions.
There's a lot of nonsense spoken about ability and flair, about the Continentals and all the rest of it. That's all in England. We also have heart, we have character, we have bravery, we have aggression, we have pace.
Saunders was named Manager of the Year, and the following season had already taken Villa to the quarter-finals of the European Cup. When suddenly, he resigned.
That was a massive blow to all of us. I mean, as I said, to this day, we don't really know why he left. What's went on, we don't know, but, I mean, we have to thank him, really, for what he did for the club, for us as individuals and that team that was around at the time.
To the younger lads, it came as a major blow because he was the godfather of Aston Villa.
For your manager of the year to walk out halfway through a season, or quite through when the quarter-final cup was absolutely incredible. I mean, it's just like Ferguson walking out of Man United, you know, halfway through, or Wenger leaving Arsenal.
The rumour was that Doug Ellis was coming back to the club for his second spell as chairman, and Saunders had left because the pair had never seen eye to eye the first time round.
We didn't know whether it's anything to do with, you know, with Mr. Ellis coming back to the club or whether that was going to happen, and he'd got wind of it because I knew that they sort of had a conflict of character, but we never knew what went on, and it was all kept hush-hush.
I believe that if this club would have given him a 5-year contract at his peak, you would have seen a lot more silverware at Aston Villa, no question out about that. I think this club has lost the best opportunity they ever had of being right up there with the elite, and I don't think it's going to be a long time before they get up there again.
Ron's assistant, Tony Barton, took over and guided the team to the European Cup final.
He didn't change anything. He knew the system we were playing, and he just let it roll on. And we were very lucky that he did do it that way, because I think if we tried to change it, he would have he would have snookered the plans and such. But we knew before we went out on a game which way we were going to play. But it was the same in that club, from the juniors all the way, from every team, from the A, B, reserve. We all played exactly the same. So we all knew exactly if somebody had to step up what their job was. So it wasn't really hard, was it? Really?
No, and I think you've got to give credit to the manager for that.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
The organisation right throughout the club was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that was down to Ron Saunders. Tony Barton did the right thing, came in and just continued along the same vein, really. Probably gave us a little bit more freedom to express ourselves, which certainly we enjoyed more than some of the others.
In the final in Rotterdam, they met the hot favourites Bayern Munich. And if the task wasn't big enough already, after just 9 minutes, their keeper Jimmy Rimmer had to come off. He'd been carrying a bad shoulder injury, which they'd kept secret from his understudy. So on came Nigel Spink for only his second ever game for the first team.
When was the first time that you realised that you would be going on?
About 30 seconds before actually went on. Away we went, you know. There's no time for any nerves. Get your tracksuit off as quick as my tracksuit's off. The ball went out. We made a change, and I was on there.
And to make a number of top draw saves to keep Villa in the game. But Bayern did go close, very close.
The Rummenigge overhead kick was absolute. It was the only moment in the game where I felt inadequate. The ball has flashed past my near post, and don't think it shaved it, but it was as near as. And I remember Gordon Cowans running past the post to pick the ball up to put it down for the goal kick. And I said to Sid, not sure I should be here, Sid, you know, because if he's got anything like that, else like that to produce, you know, there's only one place that cop's going. But the lads were brilliant after that. They kept him at bay.
It's quite interesting because they played a sweeper system. The sweeper was on the ruddy edge of the box most of the time, on their box, you know. So
he was a good player, though.
Yeah, and so it was everything that we played was always in front of them, you know, and we could never get beyond them. I think the first time, really, or possibly one of the few times we got behind them was when actually Tony got behind, yeah, and put the cross in for the goal.
I remember saying in the paper the day before, if I get one chance, I'll make a goal, and I thought, this is it. And I just went off on a run, took it to her, and I knew I'd knock it in. It's going to be somebody in the box. And I knocked it across. And Peter says to this day that he was meant to the shot. Off his shin, wasn't it? Like, you know, but if you asked Peter now, he said, oh, he meant it. Like, you know, that's typical with it. Oh, I meant that. Like, must be joking. He could have went anywhere, that. Could have went under his foot. He was right foot, you know, so he should have went under his foot usually, because he couldn't tap a bag of cement with that, his right foot, like, you know what I mean?
Then they were all watching the clock.
Real chill goes through you then. God, you're 1-0 up. How long to go? How long to go?
That last period didn't half drag out.
But they held out, and finally the whistle went. Villa were the champions of Europe.
I remember Tony Barton coming up to him, and God rest his soul, Tony Barton come up to me and give a massive hug, you know, and said, well done. There's nothing overboard. He just said, well done.
I was actually the last person off the pitch with the European Cup, because I remember thinking this might never happen again. So I thought, I want to enjoy this. I just remember looking around the stadium. It was empty at the time, and walking down the steps, and I still had the European Cup, and I thought, is this really happening? Like, you know,
the team I supported as a kid was Liverpool, and I'd seen Liverpool pick it up and win that trophy so many times, and all my brothers are Liverpool supporters and everything, and it was always something in the back of my mind, having seen, you know, the sort of Phil Thompson and Phil Neal and everything pick it up and everything, and I just wanted to try and emulate that, and I'd had that picture in my mind many times, you know, and going up there now and getting it. But the great thing about it as well is that we kept that trophy in England again. You know, that was, I think, 6 or 7 years on the trot. You know, we were kings of Europe.
Well, some fantastic memories, but even harder to bear, I would imagine, for Aston Villa fans who are watching their side struggle in the Premiership right now.